G'day and welcome to another edition of Hef's Homebrew. Today I'm going to be brewing up a Pavolva Pale Ale. This is based on a recipe on the Cooper's website. I'm not doing it exactly the same as that recipe though. I'm making some adjustments to the ingredients, but B, that recipe is only for a very small batch. So what I have taken, I've had to scale up to make a 23 litre batch anyway. Now, if you're not familiar with Pavolva, it's a popular summer style dessert in Australia and New Zealand. Meringue base topped with whipped cream and fruit, traditionally passion fruit, berries, maybe kiwi fruit, that type of thing. As I said, really popular in the summer months, especially around Christmas time. I'm a big fan, so keen to see if I can replicate those type of flavours into a beer. There have been one or two commercial versions of something similar that I've tried. Nothing that's really blown my mind. But anyway, we'll see how this one goes. So, quick rundown of the recipe. I'll try and get a little bit of footage on brew day as well, or throughout the process. And then we'll be back for the tasting. So, kit based and using the Black Rock Mexican Lager again. Might seem like an odd choice, but what I really wanted was something that's very light and clean. Very light in terms of the malt profile, but also very light in terms of hops and bitterness, because I really just want this as a base. I don't want much flavour coming through from the kit itself. In terms of fermentables, I'm going to use 1 kilo of light dry malt extract, 250 grams of dextrose as well. And then I'm also going to add steep some grains, so 200 grams of Carapils and 100 grams of Carahell. That will provide a little bit more character to the beer. Carapils, as I've said before, very good for head retention. The Carahell will give a little bit of colour and a little bit of flavour as well. So most of the malt flavour will come from the light dry malt extract and from the Carahell. So the Pavolva flavours, well, I'm going to use 250 to 300 grams of lactose. That's going to provide the sweetness. It's not fermentable. I'm going to add some, and I've never done this before, so see how it goes. Going to add some passion fruit pulp. I'm going to add 2 cans of this. They're 170 grams each, so obviously 340 grams of passion fruit pulp that I'm going to strain. Vanilla. This is vanilla bean paste. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of this, which should be the equivalent of 2 vanilla pods. Also going to use some hops. I'm going to use 20 grams of Galaxy, which will add to the passion fruit and the tropical type fruit flavours. And I'm also going to use 20 grams of Mosaic, which hopefully will provide a bit of tropical fruit, bit of citrus, but also some berry flavour, which is what I'm really looking for is the berry flavour. And I'm going to ferment with 2 packs of US-05. This is really the unknown quantity for me. I'm not quite sure how much fermentable sugar that's going to add, how much of a boost it's going to give in terms of ABV. What I'm hoping for / anticipating is an original gravity. Again, not sure how this will go, but somewhere around the 1050, maybe a bit more. And then in terms of a final gravity, because of the lactose, it won't get super low. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm hoping for somewhere around 5 to 5.5% out of the fermenter. It'll be bottle primed with dextrose, so final beer somewhere around 5.5 or 6% ABV. That's it in terms of ingredients. Anything else that you're interested in terms of process, you're probably better off leaving a question in the comment. I'm not going to go through the whole process, and if you've watched one of my homebrew videos before, I don't really film step by step either. I just add in a little bit of footage where I can. So that's it. That is the Pavolva Pale Ale. We'll catch you for the tasting. Fingers crossed. All right, tasting day on the Pavolva Pale Ale. I know you're not seeing this section at the beginning of the video, but just explaining why this video has been such a long time coming, because although it was brewed back on the 8th of October and bottled on the 20th of October, this portion of the video is being filmed on the 27th of December, so over 2 months after bottling, which is a little bit longer than I was hoping to leave it. Couple of reasons. First of all, bottled around half the batch in PET and half in glass. Normally I do almost all glass long necks, but for a couple of reasons went with the option that I did. Found that the PET ones didn't seem to carbonate very well. Don't know if it's because the lids are getting a little bit old and I need to replace the lids, or replace the bottles, or I just didn't tighten the lids enough. Don't know. So the first few that I had were PET and they weren't particularly well carbonated. And the other reason is, if you have seen my community posts, then you would have seen that I did the Beer Cartel Christmas Advent calendar, which meant that I didn't drink any other beer apart from those beers for 25 days. So the reviews that have been posted in December are actually ones that were filmed back in November. So anyway, here we are finally. Let's get to it. Quickly, particulars, as I said, brewed on the 8th of October, bottled on the 20th, fermented at 18 degrees on day 4, dry hopped with 30 grams of Galaxy, 30 grams of Mosaic, bumped up the temperature for a few days, 21 degrees, and then cold crash for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and then bottled. So without further ado, let's crack open this 750ml glass long neck. This one I think is about 6 weeks old, but it's actually been in the fridge for a long time. So it should be nice and clear anyway. Let's pour out into the pint glass. See how we go for carbonation on this one. Have been contemplating going to batch priming as opposed to bottle priming. Thing that worries me a little bit about that is a risk of oxidation and stirring up the trub, but anyway, I might consider it, or just putting more dextrose into each bottle. So colour wise, we've got a golden colour, deep golden colour. There are some fine bubbles coming up there. Of course, it is a nucleated glass, and we've got a finger of off-white head. Aroma, certainly very hoppy in terms of aroma. It's the tropical fruits, so especially the Galaxy and the passionfruit pulp itself giving off plenty of passionfruit notes. There's certainly some red berry, kind of strawberry, raspberry coming through from the Mosaic as well. So it smells pretty good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Pretty light in terms of body. Certainly no bitterness to speak of. The carbonation is very light. It's lighter than I would want for this beer. The tasting profile very similar to the aroma, so it's hoppy without the bitterness, very fruity, passion fruit, strawberry, raspberry. I'm not getting any of the vanilla. which is a shame. I think for this to really succeed, it needs more vanilla. That needs to come through in the taste. The lactose is just adding a very small amount of sweetness. It's not particularly noticeable, I don't think, at least in the initial sips. It's almost as though it's just kind of taking the edge off a little bit, providing a little bit more of a rounded flavour. Again, for this to succeed as a beer, or for it to turn out the way that I wanted it to, it probably needs more sweetness. It probably needs more vanilla and more lactose. It was 300 grams of lactose and the equivalent of 2 vanilla bean pods. So if you want to have a go at this yourself and you want that real vanilla sweet flavour to go along with the fruitiness to give you that Pavolva type effect, then my advice would be up the lactose, 400 or 500 grams, probably double the vanilla as well. But look, it drinks okay. It's kind of just a hoppy pale ale, I guess. I don't mind it. Not sure if I'm going to bother brewing it again. If I was going to give it a score, it's okay. It's drinkable. Nice at this time of year for something refreshing and fruity. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, a little bit disappointed with the carbonation as well, as I said. What's coming up next? Well, I'm going to rebrew my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or my Galaxy Lager. Couple of reasons for that. Number one, I want to have it ready for a homebrew club meeting. It might not be, well, it certainly won't be at its best, but that's coming up in February, so I really need to get cracking. The other reason is I am hoping to enter that beer into the Grafton show, which from memory is May, so that's going to give it some good conditioning time. I do also have 2 bottles of my stout and 2 bottles left of the dark lager, which I've had stored in the fridge. They're the ones that I won awards with at the Dapto show earlier this year, so I'm hoping that they're still going to be okay come May. But I'm also keen to brew another batch of the stout anyway. I really enjoyed it, drunk it very quickly. I do also have a glass bottle of that stored in the fridge, which I'm trying desperately to hold on to see what it's like at 12 months. If you haven't seen it already, Jez from Jez Beer Reviews reviewed it recently. I will post a link either in the description or pin a comment so you can see what he thought of that beer as well. So hopefully that kind of stuff will be coming up next, of course, with some other beer reviews. So let's finish up there. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time on Hef's Homebrew and Beer Reviews.